Hi, my name is Lindy Jung and welcome back to the channel. I talk about travel, writing, books, and pretty much whatever else I feel like on here. And today I'm going a little bit off script. I usually talk a lot about writing, yes, but I am gearing up for a 6-month-long, pretty much solo trip. For 4.5, 5 months of that, I'll be teaching in Thailand, but I'll also be backpacking through Southeast Asia for about a month and a half. I'm a pretty experienced solo traveler. I just like to go on solo trips, but it's been a minute, and someone actually asked me what my top tips for solo travelers are. So I want to share some tips for you guys. They're just general for like solo female travelers in their 20s. However, I am a person of color, I am queer, and those are two facets of my identity that are very apparent when I travel. And so my experiences might be a little bit different, a little bit more niche, and I've definitely adjusted my method of traveling because of that. So just something I want to acknowledge, but these tips should work for everyone. So tip number 1 is actually to stay at hostels, not just to save money, but also because hostels tend to have a really social environment. And if you're younger, say in your 20s or 30s, then this is a great opportunity to meet people in your same age group. But of course, you know, they don't vet people who come through hostels, so you want to exercise caution. And you might meet some people who are kind of unsavory, but in general, you're going to meet a lot of great folks through this. 1 or 2 day hostel friendships where you just sort of spend the day with this person and they're like your bestie for the day. And you can even form a small hostel group and just explore the city together. It's a really great way to meet friends. Even though they're sort of transient friendships, they don't mean any less because of that. Number 2 is similar, and it's to not be afraid to put yourself out there. I swear to God, I consider myself an extrovert, I think primarily because I travel so much, because that switch just turns on when I'm on my own traveling. Talking to strangers in my regular life feels really painful, but when you're out there in a different country where you might not necessarily speak the language and you meet other travelers who do speak English or the languages that you speak, there's just such like a connection there just because you're experiencing the same thing and you're sort of not desperate but very, very eager to connect with other people. Number 3 is to book cheap group tours or find free city walking tours. Most major cities have them, at least in Europe. There's just going to be some free tour that you can look up and the tour guide will show you around. It's called free, but you should leave a tip. Like, you should leave as much as you're able to because they make their money off of tips. This is another great way to connect with other people who are sightseeing in the same city as you. It's also a great way to get a lay of the land on your first day or two, so you kind of know and have seen all the major landmarks and you can sort of start doing your own thing from there. This is not really a separate tip, but I like using, but there are a couple of different apps and websites that will hook you up with different classes or group activities in the area. One of the things that I really want to try out while I'm in Southeast Asia in the next couple of months is to do group cooking classes that sort of show you the local cuisine. I'm a huge foodie, so I'm also going to be doing like food tours and that kind of thing. So if the general city walking tour doesn't necessarily appeal to you, you can totally figure out what your niche interest is. Look for stuff that you actually want to do and look for things that suit your interests. This is a great way to get a deeper sense of the place you're staying at, the culture, the cuisine, whatever you like. Number 4 is to be okay with the fact that most of the connections you're going to make abroad are pretty temporary. It's hard, you meet a lot of people, it's hard to keep in touch. I'm just personally not that great at keeping touch with people online unless they're like my direct family and friends and partner. I mean, there's of course instances in which you're going to really connect with someone, but in general, these are just going to be your friends for like the day or the week or the trip, and that's okay. Number 5 is to exude confidence when you walk around. I don't really know what looking like a tourist means other than the stereotypical front backpack, fanny pack. That is the stereotypical tourist. Obviously, you're not going to look like that as you're just walking around on your day-to-day. But there is a sort of like meekness that tourists have that's very obvious sometimes, where 1, you know, you're always looking at your phone. 2, you're like really clinging to your belongings because you feel like they're going to get stolen. 3, you just kind of look lost. Try not to look lost. In some areas I've been to, this is definitely the way to get approached by people who want to sell you something or maybe scam you out of something. Just be mindful of how you're presenting yourself. A tip that I saw on TikTok was to have an AirPod in and just listen to your directions instead of looking at them. I'm way too visual of a person for this, so I'm gonna be looking at my phone. It's okay to look at your map without looking like you're looking at a map. Basically, just look like you know where you're going and know what you're doing, even if you don't. Number 6 is to keep your devices charged. The one thing I will never, ever, ever go anywhere without ever again is a portable phone charger with a lot of charge in it. I have this one from Anchor, and this one is great. It has about 4 full phone charges in it when it's fully charged. I try to make sure that it has at least 3 charges in it when I go out. You really do not want to get caught without a phone, because that is everything. That's your hostel confirmation, flight confirmation. That's the way to get your grabs, your taxis, your whatever. That's the way you check your bank balance and possibly even do contactless pay. Unfortunately, as much as I hate to rely on phones, like, you do need your phone when you're traveling in a completely different place you've never been to before, and you don't know how to get to your hostel, and you don't know how to speak the language, and you can't translate what you're saying or ask for directions. Just have your phone charged. One of my most sus moments in traveling was when I was taking like a flight to Venice out of Paris, and my phone died on the plane, so I had to pay 40 euro for a portable charger that didn't come pre-charged. It just had like one half charge left in it, so I had to like wait for my phone to come back to life and desperately like look up the hostel and sort of like memorize where it was, and then route through Venice in the middle of the night to get to my not my hostel, my Airbnb. Like, literally the second I get into the streets of Venice, someone looks at me and is like, "Oh, konnichiwa," in like a really, not in that tone, by the way, in a much meaner tone. Ever since then, I've just always had a portable phone charger on me when I'm traveling alone. Number 7 is kind of contradictory. It is to trust your instincts, but do not be too afraid. For the most part, people are nice. They are kind. If you are in serious trouble, they're going to probably help you out. If you need to ask for directions, ask for directions. Just try to do it maybe in the language that they speak if you can. It's good to be a little bit wary, especially if someone is putting on an off vibe. But if you just distrust everyone you run across, then you're not gonna have a good time. You're not going to experience anything authentic or interesting. So yeah, be distrusting when you have to be, but for the most part, let yourself sort of relax. Most people care about others. That's just been my biggest lesson from all my years of travel. Number 8 is similar, stay smart. Personally, I would avoid going out at night alone, mostly just wandering at night alone. Like, if you have a place that you're going to and you know how to get there and you know how to get back, you're probably fine. But if you're just gonna like take a little stroll and you don't really know the area, I personally would not. Another thing is drinking heavily. I know that the culture is to drink a lot, especially if you're like backpacking through Europe or whatever, and I did that too, but always after I'd met people in the hostels and sort of established a group camaraderie, especially with like other women, that was when I would drink. And at this point in my life, I just don't drink that much. Another thing is, yes, if you are single and you enjoy it, it is fun to have little like travel flirtations, especially at bars and stuff. But just be careful here too, because there are cultural differences. I've seen things go sour really fast where a girl was just flirting to have fun and then it just got really ugly. So just be careful who you flirt with. And number 9, and this is my tip for everyone, is to learn basic phrases in the language of the place you're going to. I am going to 4 countries and I'm going to be learning the basic phrases in all 4 languages. And even if I can't fucking pronounce them correctly, even if I sound like a goddamn clown, I'm still going to greet people with hello in their native language. I'm a visitor in the country and I don't want to make any assumptions. I think one of the most annoying things that I see travelers do that come from English-speaking countries, basically colonizer countries, is expect everyone to speak English also. So the basic phrases I recommend knowing are just hello, goodbye, please, thank you, how much is this, how to order, so something like can I please have, and how to ask for help and how to ask for directions, and also basic numbers. That's 9 things. You know, it depends on how easy language acquisition is for you, but also if you practice, you're gonna pick up more stuff, and I feel like languages are just really exciting to learn. So yeah, I don't know, just put in some effort. Learn at least like 5 of those phrases I just mentioned, and I feel like you'll be in pretty good shape. Number 10 is invest in a portable tripod for your pictures. So I have one that I literally got off Amazon. I know I shouldn't have, but it was genuinely like not even $20, I think. It slides right in. It gets really long. It has a holder for my phone. It's pretty heavy, so if you can find one that's even more portable than this, that would be better. But this eliminates my greatest traveling fear, which is asking other people to take photos of me. You can control your photos. This has a little remote, but there's also apps that will take like automatic burst photos for you. So you just never have to ask anyone for a photo ever again. You might get weird looks, but that's okay. We're travelers, we're gonna get weird looks anyway. Number 11 is to make your itinerary based off of what you want to do. One of the greatest draws of solo traveling is that you don't have to answer to nobody, not even that article on the internet that says, here are the top 10 things you must do in so-and-so city or country. If you don't want to go to the Louvre, don't go to the Louvre. I didn't go to the Louvre. No one made me. So I just didn't go because I don't really care about the fucking Louvre. Do whatever weird niche thing you want to do. Figure out why you were drawn to this country that you have chosen to travel to and how to best fill your cup. If you want to take a yoga class every day for 5 hours a day, which is what my mom is literally doing in Bali right now for some reason, then you can do that. No one is going to stop you and no one is going to judge you. And so what if you don't get the best, most stereotypical Instagram photos of like the Eiffel Tower or whatever? I don't know why all of my examples are France. Do what you want to do. Get pictures of you enjoying your life and doing things you actually give a shit about, because you probably have limited time here, so do what you want to do. Number 12 is to let yourself take travel breaks and rest days. This is my toxic trait as a backpacker, and one that I'm seriously trying to break, is that if I am spending like 3 to 5 days in a city and then moving on to the next one and the next one and the next one, if I'm spending that short of an amount of time in that place, I'm going to try to pack in so much shit. Schedule in rest days. You need your rest. You're not a robot or an android or a replicant or whatever. You will perish. You're gonna be so tired and hate yourself. Like I said, you can do what you want. So you can totally take a day to just stay in your hotel room in whatever city just for a day and recuperate and order in takeout and just be bad at traveling for a day. There is no way to be good at traveling, and you seriously need your rest. Number 13 is my final tip, and it's probably my most important, and it's to just plan ahead. I think that you have a little bit more flexibility as a solo traveler, but you also need to know where you're going, where you're staying. It's just so much scarier and so much worse to be stranded in an airport or in a random city because you didn't plan ahead on your own versus with someone else. So to avoid that, just plan ahead as much as possible. Okay, those are all of my tips for solo travelers. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day. Bye.